It's time for the Writer's Block. I'm Jenni Carlson here in Oklahoma City at the Oklahoman, and joining me today from the Austin American-Statesman, Cedric Golden. Cedric, how you doing today?
I'm great, Jen. What's going on?
Well, you know, we're starting this new segment. Nobody better to do it with than you, Cedric. And let's start with our first segment. It's the lead, and it's the big story of the week, and that would be none other than Kyler Murray. Cedric, you've seen the Oklahoma quarterback play. You've covered the NFL. He made the decision this week to go all into the NFL to play quarterback. What's your feeling about this decision that Kyler Murray made?
My feeling is he's a young man who's following his passion, and I can't blame anyone for following their passion. He's a really good baseball player. He's a great football player. He wants to play football. He's always been a quarterback, and why not? I know he's 5'9" on his best day, and nowhere near 195 pounds that he's listed on the OU roster, but that's okay. He's a stud horse who can play football. Someone's going to take a chance and draft him in the first round. I know he put $4.5 million. Bonus is gone. He didn't want to play baseball. He's a football player, so go play football. Cedric,
I think you're right. I think this was a story of a guy that realized what his love was, and you know, I think he likes baseball. I don't think he doesn't like baseball, but I think this was a question of, what do I want to do with my career? What do I want to really invest in? And after this last year at Oklahoma, I think he realized he wanted to play football. Now, I think the 5'9" thing is going to be interesting, Cedric. You mentioned it, and I think quarterbacks that have come before him, you've got Drew Brees, you've got Russell Wilson, you've got his own teammate from last year at Oklahoma, Baker Mayfield, who are all in the 6 foot and under or in that vicinity club that he'll definitely join. But it's going to be interesting. Do you think that that's going to be a real hang-up for Team Cedric? I mean, he's obviously dynamic. He can run, he can throw, but that 5'9" thing is that's got to be at least a consideration for teams.
Well, I'm going to tell you, anybody that's seen Drew Brees play football, if you've seen Drew Brees, you watch him play, he's literally going like this. Look over those linemen. The average NFL lineman's like 6'5" or 6'6". The average NFL quarterback is 6'5". So Drew Brees, Russell Wilson, Baker Mayfield, there aren't that many of those guys hanging around. It is a drawback for some teams. I would be hesitant to take a smaller quarterback. He's 2 inches shorter than Johnny Manziel. And remember how small Johnny looked playing for the Browns a couple of years ago? So to me, you can't discount that electric athleticism. You can't discount that great arm strength. You can't discount the intangibles that he brings to a football team, but he's a little guy.
Yeah.
Doug Flutie in 1984 was drafted. He's 5'9" in 1984. The linemen are much bigger than they were 35 years ago. So it's going to be a problem. But I know there's a team out there, maybe a Jacksonville, that's needing that kind of electric athleticism. They're reminiscent of Michael Vick, who's a little bit bigger guy. But there's a team out there that's going to take a chance to draft Kyler Murray in the first round.
Well, I think so too, Ced. I think there's definitely going to be a team that will take him. And I think part of it is the possibilities of what he could bring on the field. We saw this guy in 1 year have potentially, the best single season that, college football has seen out of a quarterback, at least in my memory. It's got to be up there. But then you've got the marketability. I mean, we heard these stories about how the Major League Baseball contingent that came to try to convince Kyler Murray, come play baseball. We want to market you. You're going to be one of our stars. He's a type of guy that, people are fascinated by. So it's going to be interesting to see, an NFL team that's going to take him is probably going to be thinking, maybe not right away, but at some point he's going to be their quarterback, going to be their face. I think he's the type of guy that a lot of franchises will be interested to sort of put in that position. He's been in that high-profile spot for quite a while. I mean, Cedric, he was a superstar in high school. People say maybe the best high school quarterback ever in your state, the Lone Star State of Texas, and that's no small thing. So this guy has been front and center for a long time. I think there's an NFL team that's probably going to have him in that same spot at some point in the future. All right, let's keep talking football, but let's move to another story. And Cedric, this falls under our In Case You Missed It segment, and some people might have missed. There's football being played, but you didn't miss it, Cedric.
I did not miss it. The Alliance of American Football, it's a minor league football league, 8 teams. Places like San Diego, San Antonio, Orlando have teams, and there's some old school coaches in this league. Dennis Erickson, Steve Spurrier, Rick Neuheisel, and I didn't watch a lot of the games on the opening weekend. I caught a little bit of them, but I did read that it was the Saturday night. They drew 3.25 million viewers in America, and they outdrew the Oklahoma City Houston Rockets NBA game, which featured 3 MVP candidates in James Harden, Russell Westbrook, and PG-13. So to me, America just showed you we're all about football, any football, not the NFL, not college, but the Alliance of American Football. Yeah. So they are viable. I watched a little bit. The quality of play is not horrible. It's something to pass the time, to get us through February and March and get us to March Madness, where things start to pick up for sports writers. So I was really intrigued by it, and I'm actually going to go to San Antonio in the next few weeks to catch one of these games.
Well, I'll be curious to see what you have to say about that, because, Cedric, I think it is interesting how you've got the AAF piggybacking on the NFL right now. You've got the XFL getting ready to launch. All of us around here know about that, as Bob Stoops announced as the first head coach general manager for the Dallas franchise. So it seems like there are people out there with money who are saying, hey, if I'm going to do a sports league, it might as well be football. And that's really interesting. It's going to be, I'll be curious, Cedric, to see how the ratings look in a few weeks. Do you think people will keep watching after that initial curiosity? Isn't that the biggest question about the AAF or any football league out there?
That's a great question, because the XFL started out on fire, and then those ratings just kind of went boop, 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 boop. Yeah. 27,000 people showed up at the Alamo Dome to watch that football game on Saturday night. So the attendance figures were pretty promising. A new thing always gets a little bit of buzz early. We'll see if there's that sustainability that's going to keep it going. Will the quality of play improve as we go on? Yeah. I think that it will. I saw some hungry football players looking to get some notice. It's a great audition for training camp. So these guys are going to end this season, and they're going to be in pretty good shape. And a lot of them are going to get some calls to training camps. There are players like Garrett Gilbert, who used to play at the University of Texas and SMU, played for the Carolina Panthers and the Patriots. Nick Folk, the longtime kicker of the Cowboys, is in the league. DeMontre Moore, the former Texas A&M defensive end, who played for the Giants, is in the league. So there are guys that we recognize that are still relatively young that might get a chance to show their wares on the next level. And this is a good audition spot for them.
Yeah, it is interesting. I've got a quick In Case You Missed It story that I looked at this week and really warmed my heart, frankly. Herm Edwards, the former NFL coach who's now at Arizona State, lots of people questioned his hiring a year ago or so, but I've become a Herm Edwards fan because said he gets it. He allows his players and his assistants to talk to the media. He allows a lot of access, more than I think you or I are used to, and the college football teams we cover. And lo and behold, people find really nice, good, uplifting stories to tell. And you know what? Their program they're not seeing a lot of negative stories. They're seeing stories about the people. And frankly, Cedric, I think this is something all college coaches, any sport, could probably take a lesson from, to say, hey, it's okay. You can allow these guys to talk to the media. It's not going to mean a bunch of negative stories. It may actually get their stories out, and it prepares them potentially for the NFL when the access is even more with the media, and coaches gets their names out there. They can share their stories, and who knows, that might lead to an even better job down the road. This was a story that I loved. I think Arizona Central was the one, azcentral.com, that put that out there. I thought it was great, and I hope maybe others will read it, but I'm not holding my breath either, Cedric. I mean, come on, we know that these coaches are pretty limiting out there.
Yeah, and I think his years at ESPN showed him that access is important, that there are good stories to be told out there. Allowing freshmen to talk to the media, man, you covered Bob Stoops, Mike Gundy. I covered Mac Brown, Tom Herman. We don't get to talk to freshmen. That's not happening until they play in a game. And so I kudos to Herm Edwards. I hope he never changes. I hope he coaches in Arizona for the remainder of his days. We love him as sports writers.
Good stuff. All right, let's end with this last third segment, Cedric, and we're going to do a little must-see TV. Is there somebody or something out there right now that you just can't take your eyes off and that people need to be watching as they head into their sports weekend?
Yes, Jenny. Paul George is the MVP of the NBA right now. All-Star break coming up. Russell Westbrook's getting his triple-doubles, but PG-13 is on fire. Back-to-back 40-point games. Over the last 14 games, he's averaging 35 points a game, 10 rebounds, and about 7 assists. And you know what? I think it's refreshing because he decided, I'm not going to LA. I'm not going to jump on the LeBron wagon. I'm going to stay in OKC, a smaller TV market. I'm going to stay with one of the best players in the league, and we're going to make a run at the title in the West against the Warriors and teams like that. He's having a great year, and I can't wait to see what the second half brings for PG-13 and the OKC Thunder.
Yeah, to watch him in person, Cedric, I know most people are watching him on television, but to see him in person, it's even better than you might imagine. He's so under control. He's been so efficient. You have to really look hard to find games where he doesn't shoot a very good percentage or turns the ball over a bunch. Just that ease with which he's playing right now, and the fact that he does it on both ends of the court. It's really going to be interesting to see. The NBA voters are, they're a pretty analytical bunch. They look really deeply at the numbers. Defense, I don't think will win Paul George the MVP, but it's impressive to see him make those plays, those defensive plays down the stretch. You know, we joke about Russell Westbrook will get angry and he'll have a mad foul. He'll foul somebody because he's so angry that he didn't get a call or something went wrong. Paul George doesn't get mad fouls. He gets mad steals. He just goes down and takes the ball from people. It's been really amazing to watch, and it's interesting that you've seen it from afar. And you get a lot of James Harden down there in Austin, Cedric. So you're seeing a guy that's doing historic things as well.
Yeah, James Harden is on a historic run. 30 straight 30-point games, 30 for 30 with a beard. It's amazing, and the fact that he's doing that, and we're thinking of someone else as a possible MVP candidate speaks to the greatness of James Harden. But can he do it in the playoffs? That's always the question with James.
Yeah, definitely. So I got a must-see TV. And Cedric, if you're in our neck of the woods, the Big 12 footprint, you might be looking for some college basketball to watch that's good, because the Big 12 been a little sketchy this year. I'm going to throw out Tennessee on a 19-game winning streak. If you want to check out some good college basketball, I think the Volunteers might be a good watch. And Cedric, as I've seen Tennessee roll up these wins, it's been impressive because they've been a program on the men's side that hasn't been where they are now, top of the rankings, best team in the country. But I'm curious from your perspective, are people in Austin keeping up with Tennessee because of Rick Barnes, the head coach down there who was at Texas for so long, beloved by a lot of Longhorn fans? What's the reaction to Rick Barnes now coaching the top team in the country?
Well, they can't help but notice because their team is 14-11 and 6-6 in the Big 12 and hasn't had a tournament win since Rick Barnes left town. So the Tennessee Volunteers are a great story here in Austin as well, because Rick Barnes made his mark here and led this team to many tournaments, a Final Four in 2003. And we had him on our podcast, Kirk Bowles and I, a couple of weeks ago, and we asked him, was it just a point of you needing a change of scenery? He goes, I didn't need a change of scenery. They changed the scenery for him. So he said he didn't recharge his batteries. He's always been the same. He's brought some tough-minded basketball to that team. They are winning without shooting a lot of three-pointers. They're taking it to the rack and making mid-range jumpers, getting stops on defense. Yeah. That's true Rick Barnes basketball. And if you're at the house on Saturday, Tennessee at number 5 Kentucky, Woo. That is must-see TV.
Definitely so. And I know if people around here are looking for some connections to a team, Houston and Kelvin Sampson, they've only won 8 in a row, but still a team that's playing really well with a former Big 12 coach. Big 12 basketball, maybe not delivering great basketball this year. We're trying to help you out here with a little must-see TV, and you're right, Cedric. 1 versus 5, can't get much better than that. All right, that's it for the Writer's Block this week. We'll be back next week to talk more about hot topics in sports, so be sure to join us then. We'll see you later.